you're looking at nearly $1 billion of sweet, sweet science. It's NASA's next Mars lander, and it's going where no other robot has gone before, deep into the heart of the red planet.
And liftoff of the Atlas V with Curiosity.
NASA has sent spacecraft to Mars before, like the Curiosity Rover, but InSight is a stationary spacecraft that probes into Mars with two main instruments. NASA brought a scale model of the lander to the Exploratorium in San Francisco to show to the public.
We take the instruments off of the lander deck, using a robotic arm, and place them onto the surface of Mars. It's the very first time that any project has done that, robotically placed instruments onto another planet's surface.
The first instrument is one seriously fancy probe, which will hammer down 16 feet. It trails a ribbon studded with temperature sensors that will measure the thermal gradient, which will help show what Mars is composed of.
We're testing this fundamental hypothesis about what is Mars made out of. Is it the same building blocks as Earth? Different building blocks? How much variation is in the solar system? By getting this simple idea of how much heat is coming out of the planet.
You see, not all rocky planets are made the same. Earth is very active geologically, with plate tectonics and plenty of volcanism. Mars, on the other hand, is less volatile. Understanding the differences in the evolution of Earth and Mars will in turn show how the solar system's other rocky planets formed. InSight will also be monitoring for the red planet's version of earthquakes, known as, you guessed it, Marsquakes. The spacecraft's robotic arm will deploy this seismometer and cover it with a dome to protect it from the notoriously harsh Mars elements. To say this instrument is sensitive would be an understatement.
There happened to be a butterfly on Mars and it landed very lightly on the seismometer. We'd actually be able to detect that. So if there are butterflies, we'll find out.
Butterflies aside, the instrument will help give scientists a better idea of what kinds of materials hide deep within Mars. First though, NASA has to somehow get InSight onto the red planet without cratering it.
What we call 7 minutes of terror for our entry, descent, and landing phase. That's where we actually go through the atmosphere with first our heat shield, and then a parachute, and then finally in the very end of it with a bunch of retro rockets firing to slow us down from 12,500 miles per hour when we hit the upper atmosphere to about 5 miles per hour when we actually touch down on the surface.
But once it's settled and up and running, InSight in large part runs itself. There's no navigating around obstacles like the Mars rovers. It'll be powered by these solar panels, which are so big, they'll still provide enough juice even when dust storms cover them with muck. InSight will do its science ideally for 2 Earth years, unraveling the mysteries of Mars' interior as no other spacecraft has done before it.
We've done everything we can to prepare InSight for whatever Mars throws at us, but you can't control planets. As much as I'd like to, it's not possible.
So good luck out there, InSight, and happy probing.